So I wanted to talk a little bit more about divine divinity, like divine light, like experiencing the divine. Um, so so there's a difference between the joy and the bliss that you experience through singing and bringing your focus on God, whatever that may be. um, and being at a rock concert because it feels good to be in a group. You're excited. You feel like love. Being at a concert and in a group of like thousands of people, listening to your favorite musicians play music is closer to the experience of love than what you're getting when you're singing hymns to God. When you're singing hymns to God, you're experiencing things like bliss and joy. And those are higher states of consciousness. And then the experience in the group is love for like humanity, love for your fellow person. So it's different. But I wanted to talk about being able to perceive divinity, divine light. Because in my previous upload, the one right after this, before this one, I was talking about ether and how there's like a blanket. I don't know. It's like maybe like, cause here I'm just theorizing now, and going off my own experiences in these theories. I think that the ether is like a blanket that lays over the top of the physical world. And I think that blanket is specifically reserved for divinity. And the more, now listen, this is where I'm going to get real weird. So not only can you see the physical world with your eyes, but you can essentially feel through your eyes, like you feel with your fingertips, you feel on your skin. Your eyes the sensation of divinity comes to you through the eyes. and you're seeing, what you're seeing is that ether is empty, and it's up to you to fill that blanket that covers the physical world around you. It is up to you to attract and draw down divine light, divine existence, to fill the ether. That blanket is reserved for divinity. And it's weird, so I'm going to get even weirder. You know how they say they're like the silver lining? Some of the best, wisest, most knowledgeable pieces of information come in little tidbits of like old folk sayings. And like one of the things, and you wouldn't think much of it, but it's, if you had sat down and really give it the time of day, focused on it for like a week, 2 weeks, you're going to draw some sort of divine knowledge, some sort of deep insight, some sort of deep wisdom out of the simplest of phrases. And one of those phrases is the silver lining. Find the silver lining in everything. What does that come from? It's essentially, if you track it back, it's some sort of like religious saying, basically telling you to find the goodness of life within every moment. And they call it the silver lining. I'm going to tell you why they probably could refer to it as the silver lining. Because when you see and perceive divinity covering the physical world around you, it's going to seem like you're looking at silver light. That's what it's like. That's what it's like. Now the crazy thing, where people you got me fucked up. You think I'm going to go to church. For real. Because we are all divine beings, right? We are all beings of the cosmos. And divinity, this word was created to describe an experience, to describe something you can experience in the world, something you can become aware of in the world. And it's heavily, it is a cult. It is a cult. And what do we know about occult knowledge and occult ideas? It's magic, right? It's magic. But not but if you really are an occultist and you've done any of the reading and the learning, and you've stumbled across the Kabbalah and all that shit, you know that stuff all stems from enlightenment, ultimate enlightenment, but also knowledge of fucking God. Like in my last video, I don't know if I fucking broke into the Enochian magic. I started talking about how in high magic you do your ritual work and you're essentially, you do your Hebrew prayers proclaiming yourself as the one consciousness. But like Enochian magic is the angel language, right? That John Dee and Edward Kelly transcribed from long, long ago. It was lost language, and what we have now today is what John Dee and Edward Kelly figured out. But anyway, they're called Aethers. The Enochian calls are called Aethers, and there's like 30 of them or some shit. I don't know how many. But what that is you're scrying into each individual. You're scrying into each individual Aether in order to come to in order to rise your consciousness into a layer of God consciousness. God, I was going to say something else. Like, you could consider God as the highest knowledge, and the work of high magic, the work of Raja Yoga. Well, I don't know about Raja Yoga. I'm kind of at a point now where I think that Raja Yoga is just like the highest you can get within your own consciousness as a being, as a person on the planet. But like high magic, and Enochian magic is about getting into God consciousness. Which is really crazy if you think about it. Because it is the highest consciousness. It is the highest knowledge. The highest knowledge you can ascend to, right? Which sounds fucking mind-blowing, but yeah, anyway, what the hell am I even talking about? So you have the LVX ritual in high magic, and that's where you're like, let the divine light descend, right? So you're basically drawing down divinity to fill up that etheric blanket that covers the physical world around you. And you know how people, they're always like, heaven is here on earth, man. It even says that in the Bible, I think. Don't quote me, but people are always saying that. Spiritual teachers are saying, they will tell you heaven is here on earth. And the way you're going to experience that is by drawing down that divine light, filling that etheric blanket with as much divine light as you possibly can. And then you're going to fucking wake up into a sense of a state of heaven in your own home. And it's a thing to behold. It's a thing to experience. And that's where like religion has gone fucked up. Is they're like, no, this is something that everyone can do. This is a way everyone can exist in the world. You can enlighten back into Eden, into a state of Eden. And everyone can do this. It's possible for everyone. You have to work for it. You have to work your fucking ass off for it. But they're like, no. And once people started achieving these states of consciousness, when they started experiencing this divinity existing in heaven inside their palaces, because this shit was reserved for fucking kings, right? That's what Damien says. It was the Bible was written about kings, for kings, by kings. And once they started discovering that this is an experience that everyone can have and people can live and function happily inside, they're like, nope, this belongs to us. This is insane. This is fucking crazy. We're not going to teach this to fucking anybody. Keep it a secret. And it's been a hidden secret for hundreds of fucking years. So much so that no one will fucking believe you if they start telling you what I'm telling you. I've experienced it, though. I've experienced walking in the divine kingdom before at the Dollar General. Wow, I look really pretty this morning. I haven't slept. But anyway, show, we're gonna go conspiracy now. So the thing about being able to see divine light, like being able to see the veil and being able to perceive what's beyond the veil, the spiritual realm, the astral realm, you have to do the work. Like, some people are just gifted for some fucking reason, probably because of trauma. Like, I guarantee a lot of people that you run into who have had, seen a ghost or, seen an apparition or some shit, they've probably gone through some psychological trauma, so it's got their brain running on that frequency, right? But like, to perceive, because the whole heaven here on earth thing and like the whole Eden thing, like if you go to my fucking YouTube, you'll hear me talking about how I've been back to that Eden state before, and I got there through trauma, from sheer survival. Like, anyway, if people fucking knew that, then the thing about it though is that you have to work for it. Like, it's not just gonna, that Eden state and like existing inside like turning your fucking living room into heaven is these things are all possible with ritual work. Like, I just know it. Like, I think it's different. I think it may be different because everything in the world has like laws, like the laws of physics and shit. These experiences of higher consciousness function with rules too. Like, inside your home, I live in a regular ass fucking apartment. Hold on. I think I have this shit figured out because I've had a lot of experiences over the years. Shit. Anyways, this is my apartment. My husband called me, so I had to pause my video. About to go back outside and start talking about this shit again. He's gonna be here though. Anyway, so hold on, let me go outside so I can smoke. So I was thinking, right, so I explained this to my husband and I explained it really well, right? So we have the physical world and the spiritual world, what I consider the astral realm. Here he comes, he's pulling up. Watch my husband. So anyway, so this is common knowledge, is that there's a veil that separates the physical world from the spiritual world, or in the astral realm. I have a lot of experience with the astral realm, not just like astral travel, but like seeing in my mind's eye people's actual astral bodies. I've also seen a ghost before, but it wasn't a ghost. That's a longer story. That's an astral body. It was an astral body. But anyway, let's stay focused. So the veil between the physical world and the spiritual world, the astral realm. What does the veil look like? Well, the veil is that ether, that layer, that etheric blanket that covers the physical world. What does the veil look like? It looks like divine light. Sorry. I was interacting with my husband and it just made me be like, wow. Emotions like rule people's whole being. And there's so much more. There's so much more to experience than just being angry. But anyway, so I think I was saying it is divine light. It's divine energy. And the reason why we call it divinity or divine light is because that's the word we have for it. That's what the veil looks like. I guarantee you probably never sat down to be like, well, what does the veil look like? If there's a veil, if it exists, well, what does it fucking look like? And then how do I see beyond it? Well, maybe first of all, you need to be able to perceive the veil. So anyway, thousands of years ago, I'm sure like in ancient Sumeria, they probably had a different word to describe what that looks like, what that etheric blanket looks like. But anyway, to continue and carry on just with my own understanding of how higher consciousness functions, so this is my experience. Okay, so I was showing you my apartment. I just live in a regular ass little dinky little apartment that's all grimy and shit. All grungy. And twice now in my own home, without trying, like if you've seen any of my other videos here on YouTube, you know that I've said that I have experienced returning to that Eden state. I've experienced walking in the divine kingdom while I was at the dollar store. I'm telling you, like I came to full enlightenment, like to things I can't hardly describe. No, I can describe them. I just haven't done it yet. So fucking anyway, in my apartments, just like randomly, I've experienced feeling royalty in my apartment. Like royalty isn't just a term to explain a family of people who rule over a working class. It's a sensation of higher consciousness. It's a sensation of divine consciousness. It's an aspect of divinity. Back in the day, thousands of years ago, they would have had a different word for it. Now this is how I think it works, because the physical world is governed by laws, the laws of physics. The energetic world, the world beyond the veil, is governed by a different set of rules too. And I think those rules apply to environments. I think that inside of a dwelling space, any dwelling space, it can be a dwelling space that is covered in dog shit. Okay? If you're activating your energy, your consciousness, expanding your consciousness and your energetic mind, if you are expanding your consciousness to the degree of being able to see the veil as divine light, then you can cover that dog shit infested cockroach fucking trailer or apartment or whatever it is that you're living in. You can cover that shit and piss and fucking messy murder scene in divine light. And then your home can feel to you, because you're the one who's enlightened, you're the one with the expanded consciousness, you're the one who's done the work to be able to see and perceive these things. Your dog shit infested murder scene can seem like a royal palace to you. You will be perceiving royalty in this place, in this environment. There's more rules, there's more things, there's more experiences of higher consciousness that you can have. And one of them is peace. Like the feeling, the sensation, the awareness, the conscious experience of peace is not going to be experienced in a murder scene. It's going to be different. But anyway, so inside of a dwelling space, it can feel like a royal palace. Even just my little hole here can feel like that. I've experienced it twice. By just accident. Like I don't really know. It just happened randomly. Okay, moving on to the next. So when you're outside in nature, you guys are annoying. These bugs, I feel like they're trying to interrupt me. So like outside in nature is going to feel, you're going to be experiencing that Eden state when you're out in nature. But like, that's a little weird to me too, because that even like overflows into a dwelling, like into your dwelling space. So it can be like Eden. And then, I don't know, I just think that there's like rules, like not necessarily rules, but it's just like the sensation of higher consciousness inside different environments is going to feel different, but not because of the state or the condition of the environment, simply because you're in a boxed in space, right? You're in a dwelling space. So you're going to experience royalty inside of a dwelling. where a family lives. And then, okay, so my other experience was I've experienced walking in the divine kingdom at the Dollar General, and that's how it felt. It was an experience of higher consciousness. And the reason why I experienced it at the dollar store, for one, is because I go to the dollar store all the time. I go to the dollar store probably like 3 times a fucking day sometimes. I am always at the Dollar General. So a huge, massive portion of my etheric, like gas emissions or carbon emissions, like my carbon footprint, whatever, my etheric footprint, my auric field is so embedded into the Dollar General because I'm there all the time. So I felt being in the divine kingdom there, not simply because I was there all the time, but because that is a place where you can gather supplies, where you can gather goods, food, clothes. It's a place that is overly abundant with everything you would ever possibly need. And like when you break free, when you have your initial enlightenment and you break free from the understanding from terrestrial consciousness, and you enter into these higher states of consciousness, you'll just be like, wow. And it won't matter to you that you have to take what you have and then you have to buy and trade for it, with money. You have to purchase things. It's not going to matter. It's not going to weigh. It's not going to matter to you because it just is that way. It is that way. And then, so this is another weird thing. This is another weird thing about like the structure of heaven, and like where you'll experience that is like in public spaces, around groups of people, around events happening. When something is happening, you're gonna see the structure of heaven, because it's almost like, because that's a weird thing that I experienced too. It was like I seen this silver light that was like arching up, right? And I was like, that's really fucking weird. And I knew it was based off of the interaction from the event that was going on. So it's like, it's almost like it's being built around us or something. I don't know, it's weird. That's fucking weird. I said too many things. I know that's a thing though. I just haven't looked it up. The structure of heaven. It's swooping. It's like a swooping peak. But it's built off of the interactions between people. And I don't know how to describe that. It's weird. But anyway, so I just think that these experiences beyond the veil, like existing in these higher states of consciousness, not just like bliss states or states of ecstasy, because those are the nirvana. That's the path of Raja Yoga, is like the sensation of consciousness. That's Raja Yoga. But high magic and Enochian magic, that's experiences of the divine. That this is not just a path towards enlightenment or higher consciousness. Like, well, it is higher consciousness, so I call it high magic as far as I'm concerned. The path of high magic and Enochian magic is geared towards a higher consciousness pertaining to divinity, God, heaven, Eden, royalty. But yeah, anyway, I'm not going to repeat myself again. Anyway, bye. I'm kind of a disorganized thinker because I don't spend too much time philosophizing about shit. I just want to talk about what I've experienced. Which is interesting. Through this conversation, through talking about these experiences and like explaining what I understand to my husband, I've been experiencing like an Eden state, a slight Eden state. There's various degrees at which you can experience it, but this one is just like a mild, slight state of just Eden. Like if this were 1,000 years ago, 100,000 years ago, they would have a different word for it. But the one we have now in modern times is Eden. Which is also really interesting because I finally started doing ritual work every day. And I did it every day for like a week. And then I didn't do it yesterday. And then I spent the night awake, having fun, enjoying myself, doing my will, per se, to live, laugh, and love. And then having this sharing information with my husband. And now I'm making these videos, and I'm just like, wow, it all comes together. The ritual work, the energy work, the conversation, the sharing of information, it all comes together. It's all useful. That's what they say in study and practice, in theory and practice. Fuck. Aleister Crowley's fucking thesis, it's high magic in theory and practice, book 4. Share those theories and practice. It's work. You have to work. It's not just going to come to you from listening to somebody tell you about it. Like Shaktipat is a whole thing. You can become enlightened to a various degree, experience epiphanies and all that good nonsense from somebody talking to you about their experiences and their understandings and their theories. But at the end of the day, it's up to you to do the energy work and the ritual work and to turn your gaze upon God. So I'm like rewatching my video before I upload it. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I'm just sharing my experiences, and it's just like, I feel like the whole point of occult knowledge and information and like Hermeticism and like these secret societies back, 1600s, the Rosicrucians and shit, or whatever, the Masons, I feel like, alchemists in the royal court, I feel like what they were doing was studying the laws that govern the spiritual world, the world behind the veil, but more specifically behind the divine veil, not just ghosts and spooky phenomena, but like the nature of heaven, like the nature of that direct experience of consciousness, of being, of existing in the world, in society, because I guarantee you it's different. Like when you amass the collective, when you amass humanity in large quantities in societies as big as ours, it's an experience. It's a thing to behold. It's a thing to experience, and it is divine. It is full of divine energy, divine light, divine existence, the divine structure, and that's what those occultists were all studying, and that's what they were trying to figure out. And this was not something they could talk about in plain English, which is back thousands of years ago. This stuff was. It was a verbal story shared verbally. And then people started writing it down, but they only wrote down a little bit, just enough to store that information for thousands of years. And I can guarantee you now, I've read enough occult books, which I've read 5. I've read 5 occult books. And those have shown me that nobody knows what the fuck they're talking about. These occult textbooks that you guys are reading, they're not telling you shit. They're telling you what that guy said. And that guy's telling you what that guy said. And that guy's telling you what that guy said. And it's just a bunch of surface level bullshit. The real occult knowledge is lost. The real occult knowledge is fucking lost and shrouded in symbology, and you'll never fucking understand it, because they were verbally telling each other what they had figured out, and then they constructed a series of symbols in order to communicate a specific idea to each other. It was such a secret that they're like, these are the symbols. This is our language. This is our Morse code, per se. But these symbols have a meaning on their own. So if the king were to come down into my fucking alchemist lair, if the king were to come down to my alchemy layer and read any of my books, he'd be like, oh, he's writing about the stars, the sun, the moon, Venus, fucking Jupiter, the constellations. Cool. We have all this cool knowledge about the stars. It's just a bunch of made up stories. But where's the real knowledge? Where's the real information? Like, according to my fucking goddamn own personal ass fucking experience of this shit, I know that they were communicating other things, right? Because on the surface of all that symbology is the nonsense that you feed to the masses. But the real information was shared verbally, some other way, they were trying to figure out and understand how this functions. But like I was going to say, inside of a large society, that's where you get divinity. That's where you get heaven, the experience of heaven. That's where you get the experience of Eden. That's where you get the experience of... Eden seems more like a naturely thing. Because, like, today, I'm fucking going through it today. I'm fucking experiencing it today. And I know it's different. It's not the same as ordinary consciousness. I'm outside, and I'm used to it now that I can experience it without being like, oh my fucking God. Like, it's not mind-blowing anymore. It's not confusing. I'm used to it now. And this is part of my fucking ritual work that I've been doing the past week. I've been doing it for a couple of months. During my ritual work, I call out to manifest. I say, help me to remain in the garden. And then I was doing ritual work every single day for a week, full week. And then here I am today, sharing my epiphany, sharing my knowledge and understanding my stories like you're fucking supposed to do, I guess. And then also experiencing that fucking Eden state again. These higher states of consciousness. But, like, I think there's something to it. There's just more to it, like I said. Because, like, when I'm outside, because I'm in my apartment now, and it's just like, yeah, this is my home. I feel love here. There's a strong current of energy here in my living room. But, like, as soon as I walk out that front door, I'm going to be outside in nature, right? Under the sun, under the clouds, under the sky. And I'm going to feel that Eden state when I'm outside. And then if I were to go into public, where people are interacting with each other to, like, solve problems outside, that is when I'm going to start experiencing the structure of heaven. That's when I'm going to start experiencing heaven. Guaranteed, because that's how it worked in the past, and I guarantee that's how it'll work again. And then, yeah, experiencing the divine kingdom. You're going to have that experience of the divine kingdom, of the kingdom, when you come into contact with goods, you know, with things you need to survive, things you need to live, things you need to be comfortable, right? Like when you're at a fucking store, when there's an overabundance of everything, enough of everything for everyone. Yeah, so it's just, I just think that those experiences of divine consciousness, like Damien goes into like all these, you know, terrestrial, celestial, zodiacal consciousness, states of consciousness, whatever, what have you, but I'm not as well read. I'm not as well read as Damien. I'm just me. I'm just here. Most of my knowledge just comes from experience and whatever. And what I've learned from Damien. But I'm just saying that you're going to have a different experience of divine consciousness depending on what kind of an environment you're in. That's what I was trying to say this whole fucking video. This is like a half an hour video. Okay. Yeah. So that's what occult, that's what Hermeticism is the study of that, of the divine nature of reality.